Good YouTube, Quinn Wade coming to y'all with that analysis on YouTube and on analysisplayground.com. We're going to talk about what to expect from the Dallas Mavericks. This was a team that was just in the NBA Finals the last time since 2011 where they was NBA champions. Just remember Dirk Nowitzki did go to the finals before winning his first championship years later, and Luka can hope to have the same thing as he has already been defeated in his first finals. He showed that he had a lot of character, he had a lot of pride, and he was just fantastic at basketball. And now they have a team that people feel like they have enough to be able to get it done just because of the additions to this roster. You look at people like Spencer Dinwiddie, who can score, handle the ball, create his own shot, and play a little bit off the ball. And he became a player that was late in the free agency. And they said you can't really take a player like that for $2 million and think that nobody else is going to want that guy. But he was one of the players that was there, and they took advantage of the situation, and he was able to take less money, and now they have a solid bench. You look at the fact that they have Dante Exum, a guy that can defend a little bit. He gives them size. He gives them the ability to knock down corner threes. He's a guy that's unselfish. He knows how to play off the ball. He knows how to get out the way. I think if they bring him back, that'll make them even better just because he fits that size that you can't teach, and he has a good IQ of basketball. Daniel Gafford, another guy that we look at, a hustle and muscle guy, can finish around the rim, can really set solid screens, understands his game, understands his limitations, understand what he needs to do in his specific role for this particular team. And I think Luka brings the best out of him, and same with Kyrie, because they just make him get easy shots and easy buckets, and all he has to do is just finish the play. You look at Quentin Grimes. This is another guy that a lot of people liked in other places, and he comes to this team adding potentially solid defense and some perimeter scoring, which they definitely need. And we don't really know how he's going to play, but this is just the expectations that we have for a guy like Quentin Grimes. And then you look at Kyrie Irving. Like, this is a guy that has been to the finals multiple times, has won a championship, has been able to step up in clutch moments, can carry the load of the offense when Luka takes a break or he needs rest or he got caught up in a double team and I need somebody to make some plays for themselves and others. Kyrie Irving has shown throughout his career that he can get that done. And the first season, they didn't look too good. They made some adjustments, made some additions, and this year it seemed like they're going all in with this duo, and you can't really blame them for that. And Luka's 25, so his contract's going to keep getting fatter as long as he keeps staying healthy and he keeps playing at this level. He's only going to be worth more and more money. So you want to take advantage of him being young, him being at the peak of his career already, and him being at a dominant mentality and him being healthy. You want to take full advantage of that and try to win as much as you can with that factor in there. And that's the biggest thing. How far can Luka Doncic take this team? He has some bad games in the playoffs, and he has some games where he looked controllable and lock upable defensively when the opponent was guarding him, especially the Celtics. And he took full credit as a man, saying that I could play better. I let Kyrie down. And those type of accountability things is what you want to have in your young star, knowing that you can play better, you can dominate the game, at a higher rate, and you can be more consistent. And then Kyrie kind of disappeared in the finals too, not having his greatest, probably the worst finals appearance for Kyrie Irving in those 5 games against the Celtics. But, we know that he's going to come back and he's going to figure out how to be better, how to get more things in his bag, and how he can use his handle to create for others and himself. And another person I wanted to talk about was a guy like Derek Lively, being healthy, being long and lanky, being a great solid defender, being a solid rebounder, and doing everything that they usually need a center that plays with Luka Doncic to do. He's just the perfect fit at 20 years old, and he's 7'1", a legitimate 7-footer. He need to add a little bit more strength. We've seen him get knocked around, get slapped around a little bit. We need him to be able to be strong in that paint for a long period of time. But Also be a solid free throw shooter because he's going to get fouled a lot because either you're going to go straight up, you're going to get a lob, or you're going to get fouled on an attempt to finish at the rim. And he does need to work on, if I don't have a shot, let me get the rebound, let me pass out of the paint and reset the offense. Not saying that he can't do it, not saying that he never did it. He just need to have that option in his head a lot more because of the team that they have this year. And then the new addition, Klay Thompson. He's a guy that has already been proven and known in this league. I think him getting eliminated early in the playing tournament helped him heal a lot more, helped him get his mind a lot more focused because he made his decision early in free agency, which allows him to connect with his teammates. It allows him to be more prepared come training camp, which is next month. And it allows him to be able to get what they're trying to do, what they're trying to accomplish, how his role is going to be, and it allows him to be able to ease himself into it and be more healthier, be more prepared even physically. And I think that that's important because this is a new adjustment. You know, this role is going to be similar to what you did in Golden State. You obviously have a player like Kyrie that can handle and shoot and create off the dribble a little bit like Steph, but he just don't have that same gravitational pull because he like to score more in the mid-range and get a lot more finishes compared to a player like Steph. And so does Luka. Luka likes to create one-on-one and then try to shoot the three. He don't really play off the ball a lot. And I think that that's going to be something that Clay's going to have to be able to adjust to. And I think he will be because he has so much time to be able to do it by knocking out free agency early, knowing that this is the place he wants to be. And this is a team that already was close to getting it done. And they already had the size. They already had the strength. They already had a guy that they can rely on to make sure the offense still clicks for the most part, even though they was held below 100-point majority of the time against the Celtics. I think that Klay Thompson knows some secrets and knows some things because he beat the Celtics in 2022 with the Golden State Warriors. I think that that's an advantage that they might have off him too. Then you look at PJ Washington. He came later on in the season. He understood that they need him to rebound. He understood that they needed him to shoot the three. He understood his role coming out the gate, and he was able to play it decently, including in the playoffs, and he was one of their best players. They even could add him in the big three. You can't really do that now because of Lively and because of players like Klay Thompson doing more than just score. I feel like Lively is a double-double and Klay Thompson is a double figure with decent efficiency, and that's what he's going to bring to the table. He looks a little slower, Klay Thompson. He looks a little bit more, terrible on the side of the defensive end now, but I feel like he can get his head straight and he can get his mind focused on what he needs to focus on, and they can cover up some of his weakness. He could be a real threat, and PJ Washington knows that because he never was known as a great defender. He never was known as the greatest player, but Luka and Kyrie made his job so easy. Just do this and we do the rest. That shift in mentality just allows you to play better and be more confident, and that's what they're going to need a lot of this roster to do. And then you look at Najee Marshall, a guy that has the size, has the strength, has the body. I think he can be a solid defender and a guy that can score a little bit. And that's something that they're looking forward to getting in general. And I look at the fact that this roster is a lot more improved. And I think that they have a lot more that they can do during the buyout season or trade deadline. If this guy doesn't work out, most of these guys are tradable. They're flippable because they're role players that has had a great reputation around the league for the most part. And I think that they're young enough to where they can grow a little bit together and they can play a little bit together and they can figure out some things and use that as a secret sauce of some type to be able to use that as an advantage against their opponent. So the Mavericks, they're not an unknown team. They're going to be a team where we're prepared for them. That team's going to be ready for them because they already know that this team is going to be one of the best. They have been a playoff team ever since Luka was a sophomore, showing you how great of a player that he really is. And he was able to get Kyrie to want to come play with him. And that's something that shows you that if I can get Porzingis to want to come and I can get Kyrie to want to be on board, and now they got that third piece with Klay, you never really know the possibilities of what can happen with the Mavericks. If I'm a Mavericks fan, I'm ecstatic and I'm excited for this season, and they have better guys that can defend and that's something that they needed, and they try to add in this offseason guys that can, if you can't score, we'll still be fine. Just defend your position. Offense turns into defense anyway, and then you can get those layups, and then you can get that semi-transition and transition shots, and you can put the ball in Luka's hands if you do get the rebound and reset your offense, and then you can just outscore your opponent just because they're one of the toughest teams to guard. And we knew that, and we knew that they will be one this year too. Now it's just about those guys living up to the hype, and Luka playing more consistent and more dominantly in the playoff picture. We know what he can do in the regular season. We know that he's always going to be in the MVP conversation. We know what Kyrie can do offensively. We know that they are one of the most explosive duos in the game. And we know that Luka already has some health scares with his shoulder, with his back, with his knees. And we know that he can really get a little bit more healthier before the season start. Don't put too much on him. Don't do too much, because he already has to carry the boulders of the franchise, because he is the guy that they felt like, if we get Luka Wonderboy Doncic, we can be a contender. This is the guy for us. This is the guy that can take us to the promised land again. And he has shown that he's not that far from it, but it is teams like the Celtics and other teams in the West that made a lot of moves to increase their chances of beating the Mavericks or be able to still be better than the Mavericks. I don't think that the Mavericks are the best team in the West. I don't think they're the best team in the league. But when you got a guy like Luka Doncic, you never know what's really going to happen. You never know what he can erupt for, if he goes unstoppable, if he draws a lot of fouls, if he goes off, and then has the assistance of Kyrie too to put them finishing touches on the lead. This team can be very dangerous, especially when you also add the fact that they have one of the best sharpshooters in NBA history in Klay Thompson. This is a scary team to watch and prepare for, just because you already can't guard these guys anyway. And what is it like cutting up the defense or making some shots and then kicking it out to Klay Thompson? That's crazy. And like, if they kicking it out to PJ Washington, and they kicking it out to Jaden Hardy, and they kicking out to guys like Quentin Grimes, just imagine having Klay Thompson in that corner. Klay Thompson at the top of the key, ready to onslaught them like he has done with the Warriors. Remember, the Warriors was a team that will blow you out in one quarter and just be done for the rest of the day. And I can see this team being just that good offensively, especially against teams that's not paying attention, and teams that fall asleep defensively, teams that's not playing hard the whole game. This team can get a lot of easy wins in the playoffs and in the regular season just by playing their formula to success, which they usually don't deviate from. This is a team that knew what they wanted to do and knew what they wanted to do each and every game, and didn't even change their style up a lot against the Celtics. Now, the playoffs is about matchups, so it made sense that the Celtics was able to change just enough and stay focused just enough, because they had a great matchup against a team like Dallas, but other teams are not going to be that lucky. Plus, we got to play it by the years. Anything can happen in the life of the world, anything can happen in general, but they put their cards all where they needed to be to give themselves the best roster that they can get to be able to win the championship. And I look at it like that. This team has what it takes to get it done. It's just about who they have to go through, how healthy can they stay, and who is going to be there in the end in the finals for them to be able to finish as champions. This team is a contender. This team is a championship contender. I expect them to win 50-plus games. I expect them to be in the conversation for top 4 team in the Western Conference. I expect Luka Doncic to be in that MVP conversation like he always is. I expect Kyrie to come back with a vengeance. He didn't play well. They guarded him well. They made him disappear in the games. And I feel like Kyrie is going to want to come back and prove a point that I'm still one of the best players in this league. I still can help this team win. And then we get a little bit more space and we get a little bit more threats that people got to respect. That opens up the game for us and make it easier for us to be superstars too. We can help the role players get their shots easier, and they can make it easier on us too by just being weapons and threats that people got to pay attention to. And that's all they really need to do for our jobs to be easier too. And our efficiency can go up, our playmaking can go up, just because it's a more well-balanced offense and a better, solid to decent defense that we already been having in the NBA. So they're not the greatest team, they're not the best team, but they in the position to where they're still one of the better teams. And that's all you really have to do is make the playoffs, take advantage of the mismatches, and go all the way to the finals. And you never know what's going to happen, but you just got to put yourself in that position to be able to win it and then get it done. That's all you can do. That's all you can hope for. That's all you can wish for. And they understand that because they were just in the finals last year. And I wouldn't be surprised if they made it again because this team is more improved than it was last year, in my personal opinion. And it's actually going to be factual with the addition of Klay Thompson just being one piece, and having a lot of returning guys on the team that made it to the finals already. Other than that, comment, like, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell. If you're new to this channel, I got videos just like this and breakdowns and tributes to some of the greatest players and current greatest players in the NBA. And I also cover rookies, and I also have videos every day when it comes to basketball. So if you love the game, you can't live without the game, and you need something to watch even in your free time, this is the channel for you. And if you've already been on the channel for years, check out some of my older videos that you might have missed. I know days get busy, days, go how they go, and you might miss out on a couple. Make sure you check in my channel on a daily, and you might see some hidden gems or some things you slept on, or you wanted to catch up on, or you wanted just to hear my opinion on. And this is the channel for you because you've already been subscribed, so you'll know how I go. Check out those videos that you probably had missed. Other than that, I'm gone.